We back, fam. It is Jules. If you guys have been watching this Devo series, we're calling it Through the Fire, and if you've seen parts 1 and 2, thank you so much for watching. But if you have yet to subscribe, you know what you need to do. Game of Thrones is over, so there are no more conspiracy videos to watch on YouTube. You might as well hit the subscribe button. We're going to be continuing on right now with part 3. We're loosely basing this off of the book of Job, so we're going to be diving into another section. Just a bit of a recap. Part 2, we kind of concluded about God and his correction, and how it's not punishment, it's not impersonal, but ultimately it's protection. So let's get back at it with part 3. This one is called Sometimes You Just Need to Shut Up. Job 6:24 says, "Teach me and I will be quiet. Show me where I have been wrong." Let me just repeat that. Teach me and I will be quiet. Keywords. Show me where I have been wrong. You know, I think in society nowadays, be quiet, those are 2 words that just don't even exist anymore. Like, it's impossible to do because everyone's got an opinion, everyone needs to say something, everybody loves the sound of their own voice, but it's actually one of the biggest commands that God gives us is to be quiet. In fact, there's so many scriptures, let me just run through a few of them. Number 1, be still and know that I am God. The Lord is in his holy temple, let all the earth keep silence before him. Peace, be still. Keep silence before me. Take heed and be quiet. Study to be quiet. And so many more, I am definitely sure. But it's really hard to do, especially when we feel like we're going through the fire, when we're facing trials and tribulations and hardships and suffering and all of that jazz. Our go-to response is to talk about it. Our go-to response is to rant on Facebook or to send out a tweet or to be overly dramatic on Instagram. And trust me, I am so guilty of this because I am naturally dramatic. And my first thing to do is to call somebody up and tell them about it, or to tell a lot of people about what I'm going through. But I think in these seasons of testing, God is really saying, I need you to shut up. I don't want you telling everybody else about what's going on in your life. I don't need everybody else knowing your problems. Why can't you trust me? Why can't you come to me? And why can't you be silent about it? Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying to keep it all to yourself. Of course, if there's somebody that you love and you trust and you really need to release what's happening, then a trusted leader or your mom or a best friend is definitely somebody to go to. But I think even then, there are some moments that are so sacred and that are so private and things that are happening in your heart, and you can really feel it even in the environment around you, how it's affecting you, that have to be kept between you and God. And so the first thing to do is to shut up. And point number 2 is to stop. I think another go-to response, especially if you're like me, and I am a type A, get this, number 3, wing 2 Enneagram, which means that I am on it all the time. If there is a problem, I need to fix it. If there's an emotion I don't understand, I need to get over it right away. And I never allow myself to just stop. And sometimes I think we actually have to feel things in order to be able to process them. We actually have to kind of sit there for a bit and assess what's going on instead of trying to get out of it right away. You know, sometimes I think of it in parallelism imagery like a roller coaster where we're fighting the direction of which we're going in, and it actually hurts more to resist that direction instead of, and these are my trigger words, going with the flow. Literally, anytime somebody says to me, go with the flow or relax, I want to slap them. But it's so true. When you relax and when you stop and when you stop fighting it and you stop resisting the direction of where things are going, it actually eases up a lot of that tension. It eases up a lot of that pain. And number 3 is to slow down. Again, if you're always quick fixing things, if you're always trying to get to the solution right away, we don't understand, but a lot of this is causing us to start relying on our own strength and thinking that we have the answers and thinking that we have the solutions. And of course we don't. And maybe we feel that sometimes when we do talk to God, it's like we're not getting answers, that we're not getting solutions. But again, in that stillness, in that quiet is where you're going to make the biggest life decisions. It's in that stillness that you're going to see the peace that transcends all understanding. It's when you're going to hear from God, and it may be a partial answer, it may be a partial understanding, but there's a reason why you're going through it, and there's a reason why God wants you to stay silent about it. And just to conclude on all of this, my second favorite verse is James 1:2. My first is Philippians 4:7, to not be anxious and pray about everything, which can be applied here as well. But number 2 says that to consider it pure joy whenever you are faced with many kinds of trials, because it's actually in that where your faith is allowing you to produce more perseverance. But I think that we can only really test that and see that in its truth when we're there in the silence, when we've stopped, when we've let go, and we've surrendered our testings and our questions to God. So I hope you were encouraged by this. If you actually want some more material about this topic, suffering, hardships, then Francis Chan has a really good devotional that I'm reading right now on YouVersion, which is based off of the book of James. But thank you for watching this devotional series. We are going to continue it with parts 4 and 5, our last 2 of Through the Fire, and I'm happy that you're along with this journey. Subscribe if you haven't, and we'll see you next week.